Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So a quick video about DEGEN ZOO, which is a really interesting project, and it's quite complicated. I wouldn't say I fully understand it, but it's sort of like an experimental project. So you know, there we go. So it's a charity NFT game based around animals. It's actually, if we see here, sort of part of they're calling it a 30-day challenge from some sort of blockchain coder guys who are sort of as people tend to do, up for a challenge, up for a sort of a bit of a, I mean, I wouldn't say laugh necessarily, but up to make something different. And this is very sort of blockchain in terms of how this thing works. The starting point seems to be this Logan Paul's Crypto Zoo project that was, you know, I don't know the details of that really, but obviously a bit of a, some people think it was a scam, some people just think they were just incompetent, but they were sort of selling these NFTs, and I think basically, well, I don't know, I won't say anything. So basically there's this Crypto Zoo thing that raised a bunch of money, and it actually transpired that Logan Paul didn't really know anything about it, and the people who were making it didn't really seem to know what they were doing. So anyway, so that's sort of the basis of, let's actually take this sort of idea that potentially they had here and build this charity thing on it. So under $20,000 budget, I assume that's just sort of the people getting involved. They might you know, pay some people. I'm sure a lot of people do it for free, but anyway, any profits go to charity, but they do want to build a healthy crypto community. So this is one of the interesting things that you can sort of do, that, you know, if this doesn't work, then it's sort of fine. But if it sort of does work, then potentially, you know, it can turn into something else, because they're creating sort of various assets. They're creating NFTs and tokens, which then could be used for sort of other games. I mean, these are not game makers, so they're not going to necessarily, you know, be raising like $5 million to build a big Crypto Zoo game. So this is just an experiment, but we'll see where it goes. And blockchain is sort of interesting for that you can sort of start out and see if anyone actually is interested at all. So it's not live yet. It's got 5 days, I think, before it goes live. We can have a quick look at the white paper. So there's this thing going on here where it's all about sort of game theory underneath. So players are to kill their NFT animals. So this is, you know, there is a sort of serious side to it, I suppose. So what we have going on here? So users can earn eggs by providing liquidity. So that's basically putting some tokens into a liquidity pool, or staking these DZOO tokens. So they're going to be creating these DZOO tokens. That's sort of the fundamental sort of currency of it. So if you have those, you can stake them. Obviously, they'll be making those available on a liquidity pool. So if you have some, you can also stick them in a liquidity pool on OpenSea or something, on a Uniswap. So basically, these tokens will be produced in various forms. There will be eggs. So if you have you have to burn some tokens. You basically have to spend your tokens, and you can hatch eggs. Now, I think the eggs, I'm not sure how the eggs are going to be created. I think it's whitelist. So there'll be eggs. They need to be hatched by burning the token. So the whole thing, you can see, obviously, there's a total supply of tokens, which is going down as you burn them. You'll get a random animal, and each animal holds sort of a certain amount of tokens in there. So you're going to get a lot more tokens by minting this. You can see there's 100,000 tokens. Oh no, there's 25,000. This is very bad English. So you may get more, you may get less. It's an experiment project, shouldn't be too mean. So you can evolve your animals by feeding them another animal. So basically, sort of like one way of using up the NFTs. So a level 2 animal. So basically, I think what's happened here is you basically take those two. You take your animal and the animal you're feeding, you burn them, and you get a new one. I think that's probably how it works. Not quite sure. But anyway, the level 2 animal will hold more tokens than the sum of the 2 NFTs that are being used. Each animal can be evolved 2 times. So you can get from evolving will increase the number of tokens the animal has and change its look. Feeding an animal 2 times will result in a shiny level 3. So that's sort of the leveling process. So when you have an animal, if you kill it by burning the animal, sending it somewhere where you can't get it, you get the tokens back in it. Each animal has an individual life expectancy ranging from 10 to 250 days. The shorter the animal lives, the more will be released. So there's 2 sort of things going here. One is how long the animal lives, and there's also a maturity. So if you kill the animal before it's reached maturity, you'll get a penalty. So if you burn the NFT on the day you get it, then you lose 40% of the token straight up. So there's this sort of idea that, you know, there's a bit of game theory going on here. It depends on sort of obviously the price of these tokens, which is going to be going up and down, depending on how much is released and how many people are burning their eggs, and then how much of this is being produced by hatching the eggs and evolving. So there's a whole bunch of sort of moving parts here. You know, we don't know how it's going to work until it sort of works. But then there's this sort of idea that you sort of a lot of activity going on, and then there's some point in which people will basically want to get the tokens out, and obviously they can sell those off for ETH in the liquidity pool, or you know, do whatever they want. So we have on OpenSea, we're going to be looks like trading the animals. So they're obviously saying here the floor price should slightly be above the value of the NFT in terms of the DZ tokens, or there may be other stuff going on there. Tokens are going to be on Uniswap, and there's a 1% fee on that. And that is the fee that goes to the animal charities. Hatching eggs, we've got all that. Here's a sort of basic flowchart, what's going on, we're going to look at that. Different types of animals, so herbivores and omnivores and carnivores. So these are, the carnivores I think have will have the most, the best carnivores will have the most tokens in them. Bigger the animal, the bigger the animal is, the more it has to eat, and therefore, okay, so it has more. Endangered. Evolution, there is a breeding thing. I'm not quite sure whether if the breeding thing is in here as well. I guess that's maybe, not in there. I mean, because this is version 1. So there is a breeding mechanic as well, where you can, so there's male and female animals, and you can, I guess it's a bit like the eating, the evolving thing, but you're sort of burning them. Maybe there's both of those sort of things. But anyway, you sort of get a basic idea. It's not out yet. It may be a bit messy because it's an experimental process. But basically, tokens are being created, NFTs are being created. There's an interaction between those. There's a value placed on the tokens compared to ETH or the there'll be a dollar price obviously. And then there is this inherent ability of basically evolving, I suppose, the animal. And then sort of killing it at the opportune time, which may change depending on what the how volatile the token is. And the whole point of doing this is obviously you're going to have fewer and fewer animals over time because they're all being killed off. So the value of animals might go up if people want to evolve them, and obviously tokens are being burnt all the time as well. And they want people to be swapping because the 1% of the fee goes to the charity. So at the end of the it's the 30-day challenge is just to create the game. So there's only 5 days to go that, and obviously some of these animals will be around for a long period of time. So different sort of stuff going on. It's sort of fun. Wouldn't necessarily read too much into it. I mean, these things can just fall flat on their faces. Obviously, no one might want to play. The value of the things might be too expensive for most people to play. It all depends. But the interesting thing is with blockchain, you can build these very sort of weird little projects. Doing it very quickly, no one really cares about the artwork, but you can sort of have a community coalescing around that. And sometimes it's just fun for something just to last for a few weeks and then go away. Not all games have to be these enormous, great games that you can play for thousands and thousands of hours. Obviously, probably those ones is they're super expensive. So this is sort of a nice little thing. I'll be keeping an eye on this. Probably won't be playing it, but check it out in the links below. See ya. Bye.